Today we're going to review topics from our statistics unit and how to complete our NBA statistics project. In this assignment, you are identifying the minimum, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, maximum, mean, mode, range, and interquartile range for 3 different NBA players. You're going to use the data from slide 3 and use just the points column, not the games column. You'll use these 10-point values to determine which player you think is the MVP based upon these calculations. I'm going to take you through the steps of completing this and show you how to display your work on the PowerPoint. You can choose to complete this on paper as long as you attach a picture of your work at the end. Now for this one, I chose these own numbers myself. Again, your data should be coming from slide 3. Starting with the 5-number summary, I need to put my numbers in order from least to greatest. So after I've written them out here from that page, I'm going to put them from smallest to biggest. So we have 14, followed by 18. When a number appears more than once, make sure you write it more than once. So there are 2 18s, so I'll write 2 18s. Next I have 24. Then I have 2 28s. $32 and $36. Once they're arranged from least to greatest, I can identify the minimum and maximum. Minimum being the smallest, so 14 is the minimum, and the maximum being the largest is 36. The next data point I'm going to find is the median. The median is the number that's in the middle. So I'm going to cross them off, starting with 1 from each end, so the smallest and the biggest, and I'm going to work my way inwards. For these data sets, we're going to end up having 2 numbers in the middle. So to find the median, I would take those 2 values, add them together, and divide by 2 to find their average. So 24 plus 28 divided by 2 gives me a median of 26. The median splits your data into 2 halves. I have my lower half, and I'll have my upper half. Okay, because the median is in between the 24 and 28, I'll include those in my lower half and upper half. So I'll use that information to set up my lower and upper quartiles. So lower quartile means take the smaller half of your numbers, so 14, 18, 18, and 24, and find the new median of those. So if I cross off, again, because I have just 4 numbers, I end up with 2 in the middle. Since they're both 18, the lower quartile will be 18. The upper quartile is found by taking the larger numbers, so 28, 28, 32, and 36, and finding the median of those ones. So we have 1, 2. Again, there's 2 in the middle. They're not the same number, so I'm going to add them together. Divide by 2, and that will give me 30 as my upper quartile. Make sure you're displaying your work. Again, I should see the numbers in order from least to greatest. Right, we'll move on to the next set of 4 numbers. So for mean, I am going to calculate the average. For the average, you're going to take all of your numbers and add them up. For this step, you can use a calculator. Okay, so I'm going to add all of these numbers up. After you add them all up, count how many there are. For your data set, there will be 10 for each if you've included all of them as you should. For this one, if I add all these numbers up, I only have 8 in my data set, so I would divide by 8 to get the mean. Again, for this step, I'm going to pull in a calculator. So I have 14 plus 18 plus 18 plus 24 plus 28 plus 28 plus 32 plus 36. And then again, there were 8 numbers in my data set, so divide by 8. Okay, again, you can use a calculator for this step as long as you're showing the work out as I did here in orange. So that's the mean. I got 24.75. Moving on to the mode. The mode is the number that comes up the most. So I'm going to look at my data set and look for numbers that are repeated. So I see I have 2 18s, I have 2 28s, and nothing else comes up more than once. So because each of those appeared, again, 2 18s and 2 28s, I can have 2 modes. So the mode will be 18 and 28 because they both came up twice. Okay, the range is found by taking the maximum minus the minimum. So my biggest number, 36, minus 14 will be 22 for the range. And the interquartile range is taking your upper. So again, the calculations we've already done, the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So 36 minus, my upper quartile is 30. 30 minus 18 is 12. So those are the calculations you need to show. Going on down to the histogram. A histogram, remember, looks very similar to a bar graph, where you're going to count how many times you see a number in a set. So looking at the frequencies that have already been set up for me, I'm going to count how many games I see that have a value in between 10 and 14. And so there's just this one 14, so I'll shade this box in, just up to the frequency of 1. 15 through 19, so any number, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. I have 2 18s, so I would shade in 2 boxes. 20 through 24, I just have 1 24. 25 through 29, once, twice. And then 30 through 34, again, twice. Okay, so you can just shade in. I will say on one of these athletes, unfortunately, there is not enough space, so you have a frequency bigger than 5. If that happened, so let's say I had 40 through 44 6 times, just shade up above and you'll get credit, and I'll recognize that there wasn't enough space. All right, so those are the calculations. The next thing on slide 7 is you're going to create a box and whisker plot. To create a box and whisker plot, you're going to need your 5-number summary. So you've already done your calculations. So what I do is I take these 5 numbers, 14, 18, 26, 30, 36. I can remember all 5. And I'm going to do 14, 16, 17, 18, 26, 30, and 36. Again, those lines come from our 5-number summary. To make this a box and whisker, I turn the 3 in the middle into 2 boxes, and I make 2 whiskers. I'm going to show you on this slide as well, there's 2 two of your NBA players, when you do your calculations, you'll get that the upper quartile and the maximum are the same value. So what I'll do is I'll show you if that were to happen with these datas. So if I kept 14, 20, 26, and 30. So if this happens and you only have 4 lines, again, because one of your 5 number summaries is repeated, you're going to turn the 3 into a box and you'll only have 1 whisker. And that should happen twice on your assignment. And so you'll have actually just a whisker and 2 boxes instead of 2 boxes and a whisker. The last thing I'd like you to do is, now that we've done all those calculations, you're going to decide between the 3 people who you think is the MVP and use information to support your argument. For example, I would want to hear something like, I think LeBron is the MVP because his maximum was the highest, or his mean was the highest. Okay, so please include information from your calculations on slides 4, 5, and 6 to complete this argument. Great. This is counting in place of a test grade because we're not taking a test for Unit 8. So please make sure you take the time to finish and show your work. Have a great afternoon.